means that single state is about competing with Nigeria as a nation, population-wise, even in terms of land mass. Agreed. So let me not deviate much. The simple answer to it is this. In terms of meritorious applications, like the issue you raised, where there's obvious domination, you create autonomous community to foster peace and development. Now, coming to the first issue you raised, with due respect, in my opinion, you're talking about employment opportunity. How does creating an autonomous community create employment opportunity?
There are new PGs, there are new executives.
I know there are some duties they carry out, but let's be sincere. What's the ambit of the duties they carry out? I've thought about the little war in quote, that broke out when funds were allegedly released for the developmental purposes. I know that, for instance, traditional rulers, they have their statutory mandate, resolving disputes, taking care of the welfare of the community. But if you're talking about employment, I don't think creating autonomous community is the best way to create employment opportunity in this society, the Nigerian setting.
It's a contributing factor.
It does not. In fact, let me tell you the truth. If you're talking about employment opportunity, the best way to even create employment opportunity is through government policy. Ordinary biro. I'm telling you, for instance, issue of tax waiver. For instance, signing a policy that you should stop disturbing young businesses and enforcing it. Automatically, even without creating direct jobs, you now encourage private entrepreneurs to thrive. Apart from direct involvement of the government in maybe setting up of industries, in the present day world, it is practically difficult for governments alone, except in socialist economies, to embark on developmental projects. But concurrently, as government is executing state-owned establishments for job creation, you also put in place policies that will, one, create enabling environments for foreign direct investment, that will encourage local production, that will even encourage local industries to thrive. And before I proceed, let me congratulate the Nigerian lawmakers for the first time, if I'm right, both federal lawmakers and state lawmakers, for amending the Nigerian constitution, which now empowers state governments to have concurrent powers to generate and distribute electricity across Nigeria. In fact, once this law is put into force, believe me, Nigeria will blossom. That is this issue I'm addressing that just averted my mind to it. Because if you're talking about the employment opportunity, once the power sector is in comatose, no matter what you do, the country will not move forward. But once there is affordable and constant power supply, portion to government policy like the way the Nigerian lawmakers have done presently, it creates employment opportunities. So employment opportunity, just like giving political appointments, you don't create employment opportunities by giving reckless political appointments to young men who become professional praise singers. Because on the face of it, you are empowering them, giving them appointments. But when it becomes a state policy settling people, it does not engender development in an environment. It doesn't. You only settle people. You are talking about productivity. So creating autonomous communities, with due respect, it would not be a real avenue for employment creation. It is not. Because you're asking yourself, what's the direct output of their services in terms of human capital development? Let's call a spade a spade. Unlike, for instance, if you establish industries in each community, just consider it that way. Instead of setting up, creating more autonomous communities, you will now set up new industries in the various communities. Automatically using those industries to create direct employment opportunities for the youth of those communities, so that they're meaningfully engaged, producing things that benefit them, take care of them, take them away from poverty. There will be lesser incidents of local work going on how the money given to the PGs we are spent. And it will also ensure that developmental strides take place in those various communities. That's my own opinion anyway.
Tony, what do you think?
Well, the thing is, this is not a debate, this is a discussion. And we have differently heard our opinions. I'm not here to contradict his views, but thanks for his acceptability of some of the input that I made. And it goes on like that. There is nothing that doesn't have its own value. I think what I understand on this page is simple, that 700 applicants applied. The committee narrowed it down to 350. There is not yet a government action. So we have 350 communities aspiring to be independent. That's what I understand by autonomy. Okay? And government by the time government action involved, government might end up, according to him, creating just 10 out of the 350. That is on basis of merit. Because I understand also that population is an issue. There is a number of people who is expected in an area that make application for autonomous community. So a lot of factors that is in there does not permit or requirement does not permit for an easy creation. I think I understand that, and he, Barrister Wells, understands that. But for me, like I stated, there is always need for every reason. And one of such needs is that I know locations in Enugu, which also comes into this merit issue thing. I know that by the time government may create just 13, 20, 23, or 25 out of that 350 for now. Because you require resources too to money to do that. And then the burden will be on this local government system, whether they are functional or not, because they take responsibility of providing monthly allowances for these PGs and these Igwes. And then I understand also that some local government area extend these things to some of their cabinet members. So that is an issue, but there's no way we can shy away from the fact that it's a developmental element. Because when you have autonomous communities created, one of the things governments have succeeded in doing there is that land access for public use may no longer be difficult in such area. But if you have one large community, like when they were working, when they were creating local government systems, someone like me served in the Adamu Fika's committee, who were receiving memos from interested LGAs and things like that. So, but at the end of the day, those that rejected the opportunity of having their area and the argument of viability, now today are regretting. Locations like Ezago local government, Udi, and the rest of them are regretting it today. Even on Kano West, would have been split further, apart from what you have as in Kano West and Kano East. So those that blocked it, those that didn't like it, those that said that this area is not viable, today are regretting it. So because when you have something done, established, then the next thing will be over time. Don't forget that a location that have but 10 people as their population today could have 60 tomorrow. Depends on. So I want to agree with him, and at the same time state that there is need for this the creation of it. Government is not going to create. He knows. God, no government will create 350 autonomous community in one stretch. They will never do that. They know the meaning of it.
Right. You're listening to Energy 105.5. And let's switch gears now to talk about this other issue that is in the front burner, especially as it concerns the Obasanjo writing to the UK court asking that, the UK court release Ekweremmadu over this issue of land harvesting. Barrister, I don't know really. Do you see anything that feels like the UK court would consider that letter?
Anyway, before I proceed, I have to state that this issue is a very sensitive issue. Very, very sensitive issue, and I don't know how to explain it, but let me look at it from the legal point of view. As human beings, no matter how we have been offended, once our adversary falls into trouble, most of us will still feel for that our adversary. So no matter what you may have against Senator Ekweremmadu as a person, and rightly so, he's one of our leaders. I think the ordeals of his family, is a very sensitive one and quite heartrending. And the danger is this. I have gone through the Modern Slavery Act of the Modern Slavery Act of 2015, being the law upon which he was tried. And I've made frantic efforts to know the particular section of that law upon which he was tried in court, whether he was tried pursuant to Section 2 or Section 4 of that law. Because these various sections, they carry different punishments. Because various media outlets kept reporting that he was tried pursuant to the provisions of the Modern Slavery Act without stipulating the exact section. I even tried frantically to know, because here in Nigeria, the particular provision of the law upon which we are tried in the criminal trial was stipulated that he, Mr. Keiko, Kaf, and others now at large on a so day, so place, within so magisterial district, we are found to have done so thing in violation of so provision of the law, section this or that. Now, if there are two things involved, one, there's what in UK jurisdiction, criminal jurisdiction, there's what we call trial, summary trial, and then trial on indictment. Summary trial basically is that when you are arraigned and then the charge is read to you, you can choose to plead guilty. Once you plead guilty, that means you have saved the state the burden of trying to call witnesses, to give evidence, and for you to be cross-examined and the rest of them. But if you say no, if you plead not guilty, you now go into trial properly so-called. And if you are found guilty at the end of the day, that is by indictment. Now the danger is this. Senator Ekweremmadu and the family members and the doctor involved, Dr. Beta, we are indicted. That's number one. Now, had he been the opted for summary trial, he would have just pleaded guilty. And the maximum punishment would have been that of 12 months with fine, or both of them, or even the alternative. But now, in this situation now, they went in for trial, and now a verdict of a guilt has been found by the jury. That is trial and indictment. And now you look at the punishment. If he was tried pursuant to Section 2 of the Modern Slavery Act, I'm afraid the punishment is life imprisonment. Even your parole, or what they call allocutus. Allocutus means the plea being made by someone who has been found guilty. In a criminal trial that the court should tamper justice with mercy. But at times there are circumstances whereby the court lacks the power to do anything to reduce the punishment because of the statute providing for the punishment to be meted out. Let me say here in Nigeria, if one is charged with the offense of murder, the punishment is death upon conviction. If someone is found guilty of the offense of murder, no matter the plea, in fact, if you are conversant with the intricacies of a criminal prosecution, once a verdict of guilt is registered for murder, just keep quiet. No making it, because the court cannot do otherwise. That maximum punishment must be inflicted. But if the punishment of manslaughter, for instance, is recorded by the court, the lawyer can now come in to now appeal to the court that this is a first-time offender, this and that this is the only son of the murder, and this and that, for the court to tamper justice with mercy, for the court to now maybe reduce the punishment that is associated with that particular crime, because in that case, the court is giving a latitude. Maybe the law may be that the person may be that anybody who is found guilty of manslaughter maybe can be that the punishment is imprisonment for a term, let's say not exceeding 14 years. In which case, some laws may say not less than 2 years, but not exceeding 14 years. In that case, while sentencing, for instance, the judge, as the case may be, will not give any punishment that is less than 2 years. But out of the judge's discretion, he may not award 2 years because that's the minimum punishment. Or the judge may not say 6 years or 7 years based on that allocutus. Now, coming to the letter Obasanjo wrote, I'm afraid if Senator Ekweremmadu was, in fact, whether he was prosecuted pursuant to Section 2 or Section 4 of the Modern Slavery Act, the punishments are strict liability punishments. If he was prosecuted pursuant to Section 4, the punishment is 10 years imprisonment. Wow. Allocutus cannot help you. If he was prosecuted pursuant to Section 2 of that particular law, the punishment is life imprisonment. And again, a neutral person cannot make an allocutus like Chief Obasanjo. He can't do that. In fact, in some jurisdictions, the allocutus must be made by the person convicted, not even by his lawyer. His lawyer can't even make the plea. So, and again, these are different arms of government. That letter was addressed to the head of that particular, an official, senior officer of that particular court. Ideally, you can't even read it out. You can't even read that letter. Assuming there is provision for allocutus, you can't even read that letter. So ordinarily, what should have been done before now, ordinarily, would have been to write the UK government ahead of time before the trial.
Is it the government of Nigeria writing
Yes,
the UK?
Office of the Attorney General.
Yes, writing.
Okay.
Still, that will still be within the discretion of the UK government. Because the offense allegedly, part of the offense allegedly took place within the territorial confines of UK. And interestingly, these are our brothers, Caucasians. There's a way they behave. My little knowledge of them, which most of us are aware of. They don't consider your status. They don't want to know who you are. In fact, there are times they even like punishing the big fish,
for example.
even in their own society. So it's quite a heart-rending development.
It's crazy, but let me ask this:
if you're still trying to figure it out, I have some.
Okay, fine.
I have some. Okay, so when the letter that Chief Obasanjo had written to the UK came out, there was a backlash on the ex-president for writing the letter. And I tried to understand it. In fact, people called in yesterday's morning to actually bash him and say, why did he begin to write to the UK? And I felt a certain way, since we expected that, something would have been done from around here, I mean the southeast. Since something was not done, nobody raised an alarm here. Our brother from the southwest has decided to at least do something. So why do you think people were coming for Obasanjo for writing that letter?
Well, if you ask me, what I think Obasanjo has done was a simple kite that flew, just like you stated, that something should have been done before now. And I am not a lawyer, but that doesn't mean I don't understand legal documents when I see it. I think the Barrister stated it here, that this thing should have been pursued from the angle of Nigerian government to British government. It would have been possible because I know vividly well that Nigeria as a nation has some legal bilateral understanding within themselves. That's our colonial point. That's our colonial master point. And then all the colonial rules, I don't think is gone. And then there's also new rules also on a lot of both economic, social, legal, and things like that. And I think maybe the Obasanjo I know, somehow his character may be mocking the Nigerian government. Somehow should have done this. The former Senate President, Deputy Senate President, and you're a senator, still serving senator. And the Senate of Nigeria right now, from what the lawyer explained, it's too late to actually look into that. But those hating former President Olusegun Obasanjo should have as well also understand that Obasanjo has his own way of reminding people of their responsibility, or responsibilities they should have somehow wished to assume or to get into or do. Like if the government angle to this matter, if the National Assembly through the office of the President of the Senate, a chamber to which he is a member, if they have looked into it, and then people also address memos, reach out to institutions they belong to. I even expected that, I don't know whether that was done, I don't work with Ekweremmadu, but my own mind is that I kept asking, why didn't this senator, reach out to the institution he belongs to then possibly then get them to, attract government attention, because government attention in that in this instance, from my view, can only come through the government of Nigeria. From the government of Nigeria through the Attorney General. That's correct. So these things were not explored. But if that was done, I knew that if an office like the office of the Senior President consider it necessary to take it up, then I believe that it may not have been built, it may not have gotten to this stage that he finds himself. This is my candid opinion. So for Obasanjo later, he has, in his usual way, flown a kite, the normal person he is, that this government should have. Himself knows. He knows. He's a former president. He knows that even the letter he wrote to them makes no sense in the current situation. He knows that. But he has done that as a Nigerian who came out to say, please, is it possible to change this code Accra to fire the app? That's the way I look at it. But that's Obasanjo for you.
Well, in the build-up to this moment that we are at right now, we understand that there's a government arm that wrote to the UK court stating that Ekweremmadu hasn't actually been of good character, that they should go ahead with the prosecution. If not, why do you think that the government isn't even making a move regarding this? So you would think immediately that happened. I think a few weeks after, an arm of government went around. There's this forfeiture of some sort of his properties around the country and around the world. And they also,
his case with Umezulike.
Yes.
Late Umezulike.
There are also reports from his media aide stating that there was a letter written to the UK stating that Ekweremmadu hasn't been of good character and that they should go on with the prosecution. Isn't it a clear situation of the government not even wanting to be involved in it at all? Yeah, Barrister.
Anyway, with regard to what my colleague, the last submission he made on maybe on whether any steps we are taking to communicate the head of the arm of government, I think it was done. Why I use what I think is that I know that there was a stage his case got to. Some senators from Nigeria visited the UK to witness part of the proceedings. I think for them to have done that, there's no way, either formally or informally, the head of his own arm of government is not aware of what of his ordeal there in the United Kingdom. These, as I said earlier, I don't know for others, most of us, no matter how bad he may have treated us, we may feel very bad and very, very angry with you. Yet, when you run into trouble, we may still have some that part of element of humanity in us, to say that this is a very difficult situation. Just like some years back, there are somewhere in Enugu, in Maryland, there was a time, some people used to disturb seriously deer. Even people were even killed in Maryland by some of these armed robbers. On a particular night, they were caught. Within a set of minutes, while some of us were still trying to make arrangements to appeal to the people who caught them. It was at night. To cut the long story short, jungle justice was applied. What am I trying to say? Despite the bad experience most people in that community had in the hands of some of these boys, but really they were caught. We tried to know if we could rescue them, at least for them not to be killed before. Like this thing happened many years back. Now, what am I trying to say? Coming down to the issue, what happened to Senator Ekweremmadu? Of course, he has been found guilty by a court in UK. Here in Nigeria, I wouldn't set up a jury here in this studio. But I think what happened to him, prima facie, he had many cases here in Nigeria. Obviously, the Umezulike case, many allegations, if I use that expression, against him. In fact, there's a particular case, I think, where they said that the file was missing or something of that nature. I think that should be a case with one of let me not give you. I think I'm trying to recall it. There was an allegation somewhere. I think that the file was being looked for. So, by and large, of course, it was in the news that by one of his media aides that EFCC wrote the UK government, about the person of Senator Ekweremmadu.
They did.
Let me tell you one thing about international politics. Just like as it obtains in Nigeria as well. Ordinarily, if it were to be some other individual, maybe an ordinary Nigerian citizen, he may have been sent back to the country to face trial in Nigeria. Because the offense took place concurrently here in Nigeria and over there in the United Kingdom. But they are aware of some of these factors. They may have gotten some privileged information about Senator Ekweremmadu. And of course, definitely, if he were to be tried here in Nigeria, the result most likely would have been different. To get the point, because there are some very powerful figures in this country. Assuming he were to be around in Nigeria, he would have sorted his way out. So don't be surprised that the UK government is aware of all these facts. And that's why he said, no, let us keep him here. In fact, that's why they even refused to grant him bail. Because had he was granted bail, maybe we would have witnessed part 2 of the Alamesia saga. Maybe Ekweremmadu would have appeared in Nigeria from wherever. Wherever you arrive in Nigeria, it's immaterial. The most important thing we see him in Nigeria, and everything will end in praise. So he wouldn't mind abandoning everything he has in the UK and other countries. So they are aware of all these facts. But let me tell you, which most of us also know, many people know, that most of these foreign governments, they know what takes place here in our backyard more than most of us.
True.
They know what takes place in our backyard here. So even this election that was conducted, no matter how you claim that the election was free and fair, they may even congratulate the winner, maybe based on political interest. Yet they know the real truth of what happened. They have the agents, some of whom are even our people. You won't even know them. That's why you may have a CIA agent here in Nigeria who is your brother. You wouldn't know. Not like some of our brothers here who are law enforcement agents. I say, don't you know I'm a JJJ officer? Don't you know? But this one, you will stay with a CIA agent. You wouldn't know for years. Your own husband, your brother, you wouldn't know. So they get first-hand information of everything happening here. And as I said earlier, over there, they don't care to know who you are. It's not because he's a Nigerian. No. Look at Donald Trump, former US president. The other day, moves were made to try him. I read in the news. It's like the porn star he had issues with. It's like he has been set free with regards to that one. But as it concerns the jury issue, I don't know if he's true with it. Imagine a Nigerian president in current day Nigeria, former Nigerian president, current day Nigeria, coming to face trial. I don't know, except if you're talking about Nigeria of tomorrow. But if it's Nigeria of today and yesterday, you know it's impossible now. Or it's practically impossible. So they know about all these things. So basically it was like a case of let us serve justice indirectly on him for whatever he may have done over here. And he said that had I known, because ordinarily, in criminal prosecution, these are the things we see at times. That's why some of us at times do run away from criminal prosecution. Because it's very, very dicey. If it's a civil suit, if you lose a civil case, of course, you go on an appeal. But in a criminal case, you may be very, very sure in quotes of winning a criminal case. At the end of the day, something funny will happen. And your claims will be found guilty. And for lawyers who are not usually dispassionate in their cases, lawyers who are not usually emotionally attached to their cases, they will not have any problem. There are lawyers, once you are convicted, they won't even want to know. They will move over to the next court for another case. But there are some other lawyers, if their client is convicted, you find the lawyer crying in court. What my friends, if Ekweremmadu and family, if they had known what this thing will, what will be the outcome of this case, they will have just entered a plea of guilt, serve their 12 months imprisonment. But that guy of being ex-convict, maybe that's what they now looked at, and no, let us go into defense. And then the prosecution went into the trial. Now the punishment there is very, very dangerous. Even though they still have the opportunity to appeal to the Court of Appeal, Criminal Division of the United Kingdom. Yes, no one can tell what the outcome of this thing will be. So it's so they know about all these things, even jurisprudentially, because in jurisprudence, philosophy of law, you look at the issues of justice. Now, they may start asking some questions. This is a Nigerian politician, even though he has not occupied any executive position. They will not write all these things in the judgment, but these are things that will go on behind the scene. That what efforts were made by this particular man to enhance the institutions of governance. Chief Obasanjo raised these issues in his letter. But beyond whatever he may have written there, they will go behind the scene, to conduct their own investigation. Believe you me, if he were to be a leader that distinguished himself in terms of governance, it does not mean he will go free, because violation of amounts of violation of law, your good side will not be used to forget, wipe away these things you may have committed. But you know, some of these factors may have even fueled their decision on whether to try him in UK or not, without expressly telling you. But having seen that this is a big fish, which they kept making mention of that. That's why they granted the wife bail and refused to release Mobile, because believe you me, if he were to be granted bail, just imagine our normal brothers, you know, who are involved in some of these hash activities outside the country. If they want to escape from any given country, they know how they go about it. You may see a Nigerian citizen in India being sought for by the Indian government. Before you know it, the Nigerian citizen is somewhere Burkina Faso or in Benin Republic. From there, we enter Nigeria. Maybe from answering Kola Chukwu, he will now start answering Sanjeev, Rahab Sanjeev. You know, place his head, change everything, like as if he's from Sri Lanka. From there, take train to Nepal, from Nepal, Sri Lanka, from Sri Lanka, learn French or learn Hindi. Before you know it, your man will enter one community there in Nigeria. And they say that the man is back and start answering the men at dollars one. Baba Olobo one.
We'll give him a political
and the government now they're watching. How did this guy arrive in Nigeria? So if small boys can do that, how come? You know, Ekweremmadu Alamesi story now. So had he been Ekweremmadu was released. Whichever way, even if it's what they call Indian magic, that one they tell us in those days, you touch your back on the wall and you disappear. He will touch his back on the wall and find himself in Nigeria. And they will start hearing Global, and the rest of that, and the rest will be history. So it's quite unfortunate.
Let's hope that the appeal, because I understand that they will one of his legal friends said that they will be appealing.
They have 28 days to do that from date of the conviction. I wouldn't guess
they have done that. But let's see how it goes. I really feel for the family out of the effort to save their own daughter to the peril of some other person's child. So we'll see. We look at it. Well, our people will always say, "May God help you."
All right. You listen to Energy 105.5. You can join the conversation, but let me run this particular topic by you. And I know that both of you, I didn't actually put this topic forth earlier, but I just want to get thoughts from you, at least a minute or two, regarding this. The population census is due by the month of May, and we've seen people strategizing for this population census. We've seen Igbo leaders say things like Igbos should come back to the southeast to be counted. And if they're not going to come back, they should not provide themselves about where they are to be counted. And I'm wondering, what's the idea around that? You know, I don't know if there's any sense in this, in what I've just said.
You just stated the fact. So they're both here.
Yeah.
They can.
Yeah. Tony, what do you think, really? I mean, we know that population census are pretty good for resource distribution. So the more the population, the more resource go to that particular place. So is this about resources or something more?
You know, in Rastafarianism, I'll start from that angle. The reggae skanking.
Wow.
Reggae is a brand of music for black people, Rastas, who believe one thing or the other. They call it, we had them look at it as they're talking blues. So the situation in the country is actually not friendly. Like before the elections, you recall I told you here that these elections, or just concluded election, was embarked by religion and ethnicity.
Right.
It's not in doubt. The country is even more divided, far more than we can imagine now. And census is around the corner. And a particular ethnic group again is saying, brothers, if you can't come back, don't allow yourself to be counted. Well, I think that there is need for government to rejig the census model, like what they call the data form for census. There's need for, if you are from Akebe, for an instance, or you're from Old Bay, wherever you come from, you say you are a Nigerian, and you have the national identity number, there is need that the census form should stop compelling, the organizers of the census should stop compelling Nigerians or abridge Nigerians to the point of just stating that your state becomes Jigawa. I've witnessed, let me not say I've witnessed, but I have information about the civilized environment. They conduct census.
The state of residence or state of origin?
You have space for them. You have space for state of residence and state of origin. For your local government of origin. Because why I say this is this: if in Nigeria you are doing anything formally with the government, there is a requirement that you produce your local government of origin certificate. Why would my son get admission in ABU? Then he goes for registration. When he gets there, he's no longer a universal Nigerian, quote unquote. They will now ask for a letter of his local government of origin. And you want to do census. Census comes, you are conducting census, and you don't want it to identify his local government on your form. And possibly the community where he comes from.
Is that what the census form has now?
No, it doesn't have it. So I am saying that there is need for, if they will do this census, there is need that we know Enugu State's citizens. Enugu has people, whether you call them indigenous or whatever, they are Nigerian citizens. So we need to know Enugu people residing in Plateau State. We need to know the number of Enugu people in Bauchi. We need to know the number of Enugu people in Lagos. There is need for state of origin. There is need for local government of origin to be included in. I can't be from Enugu and claim that I'm from Duse. I don't know, lawyer. This is one of the challenges of the census. Okay. So now you can also imagine things that's ongoing in Lagos for a particular ethnic group, just that they casted votes in an election. They voted for candidates of their choice. Their wares are burnt down. People have been attacked by what we call the indigenous thugs. And what we can do is to ask them to come home. Nobody is taking up the local. They're taking it on the state government of Lagos State. Those markets there in Lagos, they pay tax in Lagos, they do everything in Lagos. And nobody is talking about it. And government is no government is showing interest. All they do is because somebody say he will invite IPOP to Lagos, and now you see military tanks parading the streets of Lagos. So for me, if there are the census, there is need for Nigerians to begin to identify themselves properly, not just to say that you can't come from Anambra and you are living in Breeding Kebbi, and you want the person to say that his state is what do you call that area, Kebbi. It's wrong. That's my own mind. There is need. If a Nigerian living in any part of Nigeria, there is need for you to be identified that you are from Gombe. Then you, in the form, your state of origin, Gombe. State of residence, Adamawa. And your local government of origin, this place, is important. It will help us. It will help our data system. It will help government, both social, and then also security information about us. There is need for that.
Barrister.
Anyway, the point there is that we know where this issue is coming from. The outcome of the national federal election, general election, and the manner in which maybe some Igbos were treated in some parts of the country, I believe that should be the rationale behind this particular development. And what I would say is that we have to tread with caution, because whenever we are conducting census, the data garnered from census is usually used in carrying out developmental strides. And you find out that most of these Nigerians of Igbo extraction who live in other parts of Nigeria, they also contribute their quota to the development of their various states of residence. That's where most of them pay their taxes. That's where they stay and do everything. So in all sincerity, ideally, they are also expected to be counted in those localities. The only problem I think we are having, which is a fundamental problem, is the issue of their right to exercise their franchise. Because that's where this issue is coming from, that some of them are suspected to have affiliated with themselves with a particular political party or a particular candidate or candidates. And because of that, they suffered persecution. So that being the case, I think in my respectful opinion, you shouldn't then compel or advise people not to, get registered in their various states of residence. Because I know there are some parts of the country where this issue was also not prevalent. Igbos didn't suffer much persecution because of their political affiliation. It just occurred in some places. But I think what we should even do is this, back home here in the southeast, is that we should even try to get our people to get registered this time around here in the south, those who are even domiciled here. Because in the last census, many of us who are here did not participate in the exercise because of some reasons. Some of our brothers were told that there's no need being counted, that they don't have any business with Nigeria. And whether we remain part of Nigeria or not, for now, we are still in Nigeria. Just like those of us who are trying to make heaven. Before we get to heaven, we are still on earth. Before we get to heaven, we have to be fulfilling God's plans here first of all before we get there. So before we leave Nigeria, if we are going to leave, at least let us try to be comfortable, at least with ourselves, because the number of persons that we make available to the government of the day via census, with a great extent, determine what you are going to lay claim to. Those who are clamoring for additional state creation, it will be a factor to reckon with. Those who are clamoring for more government presence, it will be a factor to reckon with. And I think the way to even do that, because if you just leave our people from the outcome of this election, believe me, many people may not be willing to get registered, even here, before I start talking about others coming back. And that's where our governors now have to be proactive. You can even, through executive order, compel people to get registered for census.
Yes.
You can even use an executive order and pass across through some government institutions. Let's say if you are going to court, you can liaise with heads of courts, because you cannot tell the courts what to do. You can liaise with them that maybe one of the conditions of granting bail now is that the shorty has to provide evidence of having registered in the forthcoming national census. Automatically, now compare people to start getting registered. You can even make private institutions. You can sign an executive order that while paying your children's school fees, you must attach photocopy of documents showing that you registered with the national census. And these institutions file returns, submit it. So you indirectly compel our people. After all, you have nothing to lose, but at least it will benefit the society. So this is where government should become proactive, to have a know that it will benefit us. You can even declare work-free day for civil servants. Give them, in fact, any civil servant who wants to go and register should not be penalized. Just give prior notice, you go your way and register. And you have to do it from the word go, not when there is serious rush. You now start forcing people to go and queue up. And so there should be a deliberate policy on the part of the Southeast leaders to get our people who are even here, to get them registered so that the benefits accruing from census, that it will get to our people. That's my own.
All right. Join the conversation this morning, 0700 1055 1055. Hello. Good morning. You're welcome.
Welcome, Mark.
Question of the farmers community. It doesn't enable development. Most of the most community are equipped to participate or to support the government in the election. I can assure you that most of the Igbo sheep are given to government stooges. go to the governor or the governor elect or something like that, after they must have this power. They use that to pacify the person and tell him thank you for supporting me. Then I'm telling you about Ekweremmadu. It is morally wrong for anybody to begin to about using on behalf of Ekweremmadu, who has committed a crime and has been convicted of a crime. He's not even alleged to have committed. He has been found guilty of committing a crime. And I know if it is in Nigeria, he can have gone to my head and nothing will happen. So he should, if anybody pleading for him to be released, he lacks moral right to question anything wrong in Nigeria. Because you cannot be a massive on a firefighter. They're talking about census.
Hello. You just have 1 minute 30 seconds, so we can actually have every other person join the conversation. All right, just stick to just one topic, please.
Morning. Good morning. You're welcome, sir.
Very much interested on this issue of census. We, the Igbo people, if we take in the Bible, we are told Joseph and Maria were going back home during census time to go so that they will be counted on their home. When this Maria was now in labor and he delivered Jesus Christ. Let us be wise now, because what is happening in this country, I'm seeing some certain handwriting on the wall. Every Igbo people, what this census is going to be commenced, let the Nigerians, let the government say that everybody has a right to go back home and be counted there. So that if we Southeast, especially Igbo, if we are 100, let us know that we are 100. If we are 30, let us know that we are 30. But what things the government is sharing, what is coming to Southeast is coming according to how population reacts. That is my own take. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. 0700 1055 1055. Hello. Hello, good morning.
You can also send a WhatsApp message in case you're trying to reach us. Good morning. Justice, you're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
This census, are they going to, is it going to work out again?
Is it going to work out again? How? I don't understand.
I thought they suspended it. Are they going to?
They suspended it in February now because of the elections. Now there's a new date for May.
Okay, is it going to go on?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I want to urge our people to come back. I don't think there is any calling for a residence or this thing. I don't know if there is any calling because I participated in the last census. I can't understand the collect if there is any calling for state of origin and that. But I wish to put that so that when counted, the outsiders will not be the outsiders for Yoruba or Igbo will not be agitated as that they have a lower percentage. Coming to this autonomous community, for me, I think it is good to have more autonomous community to bring about development. At least some of my friends will become an Igbo here. So I live
They will sell land.
So you're looking out for your friends to become Igbo, not necessarily about the development.
You can
of
get
an
land.
Igbo.
You be a friend of an Igwe.
So everybody, maybe three of my friends will come and Igbo now, but
Oh wow. All right. Maybe you can also get the title like one of our guests just said. Igwe.
One. Hey.
the autonomous community. Let them create that.
Something happened to Justice. Do well to call us back, sir. You can send a WhatsApp message to 0700 1055 1055. Good morning. Enzo.
For me, he's not biased. His opinion are top notch, especially in regards to Ekweremmadu. I've never been a fan of Ekweremmadu. I've never. But with the mere fact that he made an attempt as a parent to save his daughter, I will never criticize him. But let the law take its course. As for Bakado, for me, the man is just playing to the gallery. He knows his letter is as useless as anything. It will not make any impact in the UK. They don't say that for people should not my cares about in Igbo. There are millions of Igbo people in jail. The man has never written a letter. He has never written a letter to save the lives of Igbo people in jail in the Western world. He has never. All of a sudden, boom, he has started being our Igbo hero. He has not been on behalf of Igbo. For me, like I said, his letter doesn't make sense to me as far as Enzo is concerned. Let me go back to the Bible said in the studio. May your days be long. These are kind of people that should bring to the studio to tell Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. 0700 1055 1055. 0700 1055 0000. Keep your thought within a minute and make sure you stick to just one of the topics. Thank you.
Good morning.
I'm fine, thank you.
I greet you, sir.
Dr. Chinedum Opamata. I want to talk on the topic of safety of autonomous community creation. Please, my dear brothers, this proliferation of Igbo ownership and autonomous community or communities in Igbo land must stop. It must stop. We cannot control like this. Let us understand that this autonomous community creation was started by Architect Udewa, Ojos Okalo, Chimaro Kennamani, based on politics. We cannot control like this. Please. And this idea, like I said, everybody must not be Igwe. Igwe, and I want us to know that Igwe does not bring modern structure and infrastructures in the community. It is the duty of the governor to say that state is evenly developed. If you go to Anambra, there is no community in Anambra that does not have a good road. It was started by Indike. People became and did it better everywhere. Igwe is to maintain peace in the town and not to build roads, build hospitals, or build infrastructures. That's not the work of Igwe. We should stop all this because it's a total slap on our institution, our traditional institution. In Anambra State today, there is nothing like autonomous community in Anambra State. Everybody cannot be Igwe. And we don't need it in Anambra State. What we are saying is that if you come to a community, bring out somebody to be there as the head of the community. Others should go and look for what they should eat. If you come to Anambra, Anambra has the greatest number of billionaires in Nigeria. But we are not talking about Igwe. Everybody, even as an individual, you do your best to develop your environment. So please, this idea, this thing should stop. There is no justification for this incessant proliferation of autonomous communities in Igbo land. It is.
Thank you too, sir. Doctor, thanks for calling into the show. Right, let's grab more calls. Good morning. Hello, are you there?
Okay, 0700-1055-1055. That's the number you can send a WhatsApp message to.
Morning. Good morning. I don't think he's around. All right, I think we have some messages from the Facebook, but let's talk to you first. Good morning. Hello.
All right, this is not forthcoming. There's a message on WhatsApp. Good morning, Ekweremmadu should pay for the crime. Okay, he's asking for someone's number. Okay, let's see.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and location? Prime Minister, welcome.
Autonomous Prime Minister, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
I should have access to hear this thing.
All right.
What to do, sir?
Go ahead.
Okay. My own is this. Please, let's take it well. This autonomous community, the one state is causing trouble. Most of them, will begin to drag the people's land. Wahala to them, I don't understand. Please, we need to organize ourselves. Let us come together. Not to divide us more. You know, when they divide us more, trouble goes there. About land, your vanish. Many things in the village, they begin to say, if you don't hold this party, that time thing will begin to act. I don't understand things. And again, because that's Ekweremmadu. They follow blame of Obasanjo, whatever it is. Our people here, even our governor, supposed to be the first person, to move forward. And every other people will follow him. Because he's the father of the Ekweremmadu. He's the governor of any state. And all the new organizing people. It's going to go in front. People will follow. As of one now, but also now, you know, all your men are just it. But our own, our man, not going to sit there in the prison, nothing happened. Even though court them to any, they didn't let him go. But if I wake up there, they him go stay there. They're not going for him. I don't understand. We are just confusing ourselves. Please, let us come together and know what we are doing to ourselves. Hope is better.
All right, thank you. Prime Minister. The Prime Minister yet associated with the community.
Good morning. You're welcome. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because or no.
It's a sublet community army. Who are support for this chief from Christian and Branoa. Because of the community, many now, and it's a problem. It's a election after. You go to support to who you support to. I have a color. na anyị Igbo anụwa ọ dị anata chọọchị a na-anata ka ọ dịgodị n'ụta si.
Nne m ukwu nya isi serapụ ife nya bụ autonomous community godo for now. Thanks for calling. All right, thanks for calling into the show. We have some messages from Facebook that we're about to read out to you. This one says, "Good morning, Energy FM and to guests. Them are creating more communities, but the communities created are giving a lot of troubles. Like in Abugo, where I come from, we have 12 communities and 10 autonomous communities, and they don't even have sitting kings. Or about 10 communities out of 12 don't have sitting kings just because of problems from two families." Says this is causing a lot of problems in our neighborhood. And this is coming from Annie Samuel Ogunaya from Obuno, Abugo. And then we also have Aaron Ago, who is watching us from Tel Aviv, and he says good morning to us. Also, we have Iyida Ikechukwu Onyedika, who is saying thank you, Charles, and Barrister C.D. Owe, and every other person in the studio. He says thank you all for your in-depth analysis. Thank you so much for writing us.
All right, we're back to our guests in the studio. Guests, I mean, you just have just 1 minute to summarize and to react to one of the calls because of time. So please, let's go with Barrister first.
Anyway, what I have to say is that what is working well with regard to the issue of autonomous community creation. Yes, new autonomous community should be created, but it shouldn't be abused. In deserving cases, the autonomy should be granted, but it shouldn't be an all-comers affair, so that it will end up being ridiculed. And then finally, with regard to the issue of Ekweremmadu, what I have to say is that the leaders and the led, we should do everything that is possible to make our home great. Because I believe all these issues being raised to a great extent shouldn't have been raised to have a working medical system, despite how we feel about the whole thing that has happened. Let us try and develop our own. Let us try and develop our land. That's all I have to say.
All right, Tony?
Well, I want to round up with this census issue. There is need for inclusive data information with regards to the census. I'm not advocating, but I've made my points clear that there is need for, apart from states of residence, there is need to know states of origin and local government of origin of Nigerians. It's very important because you don't lay hold because someone is residing in your area and then the fellow will just say that he's from Lagos State, and tomorrow, if he has any challenge or problem, then Lagos State might not be able to assist such Nigerian. So I am encouraging Nigerian governors, not just Southeast governors, but the entire governors, to let there be stakeholders forum or sit up with the commission responsible for census so that there can be increased data. Simple thing, just 2 more data on the form, state of origin and local government of origin, and community where that Nigerian comes from. Afterwards, the program on national identity also that identifies where you come from.
Right.
You have local government of origin on the forms, you have state of origin, you have community of where you emanate from. So it won't be a new thing if the Census Commission can adopt that or build that into their model so that we will know any Nigerian that we're looking for. It will also help in the case of insecurity.
All right. Let's leave it there. Many thanks, gentlemen, for your time. It's a weekend filled with fun, laughter, I guess. It's Easter weekend. I want to wish both of you a happy Easter. And to everyone listening, many thanks for plugging into Energy 105.5. Tony Wachuku, and of course, Barrister City Obey. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out.
So we're back next week for another fine time with you, Charles Ismail.
I'm Mavis. Have a great day.
Can we have the wine and the bread?
Thank you, sir. Nobody should wine up.
Wine and the bread.
The wine and the bread.
Alright, so what are
Okay, now.
Okay, Barrister, thank you for coming.
Be a good citizen. Ensure you keep your surroundings clean. Don't dispose waste indiscriminately. Ensure you dispose waste in the bins provided. Let's make Enugu State clean and green.
If you ever feel alone or just simply want someone to talk to, reach out to your close friends and family. You should never suffer in silence. Talking is good, and there is always people out there wanting to help you, even if it is just a shoulder to cry on or lending you an ear to listen to what you're going through. Even give you advice to try and help you out of a situation. It's good to talk. Everyone needs a hug now and again. Spread the word of love and hope, and never, ever give up.
Energy 105.5.
Unscripted.
It's Friday, the 7th day of April 2023. Time check in the studio is 10 a.m. on a fine Friday morning. Good morning and welcome to Energy 105.5 FM News in Brief. In Enugu State, the state government has announced the commencement of reconstruction and maintenance of failed sections at New Market Roundabout, Aguabo Interchange Road, and other critical sections within Enugu Metropolis, respectively. A statement by the Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure, Engineer Ekweremmadu, informed the general public, especially road users, that traffic will be obstructed along the critical road sections within the metropolis scheduled for maintenance works. The Commissioner assured all necessary measures, including adequate diversionary signs, will be put in place by the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure to ensure reasonable, unhindered movement throughout the scheduled 6 weeks period of the maintenance works. He stated that the state government had earlier issued a statement to commercial bus drivers and traders who operate around the axis to stop all commercial activities in the area to ensure smooth flow of traffic and maintenance of the required environment as one of the major gateways to Enugu City. Engineer Ekweremmadu reiterated that the ministry will continue in its commitment to provide quality infrastructure as well as periodic maintenance in the state. Also, in the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has passed for second reading the Medical and Dental Practitioners Act Amendment Bill 2022, which seeks to make it compulsory for graduates in medical and dental fields to render services within Nigeria for 5 years before being granted full license. The sponsor of this motion, Honorable Ganiyu Johnson of the All Progressives Congress from Lagos State, said the move was to check the mass exodus of medical professionals from the country. Leading the debate on the bill, Honorable Johnson noted that the amendment was in order to make quality health services available to the citizenry, considering the growing trend of the country's population and the current immigration rate of Nigerian trained medical and dental practitioners abroad. He added that Nigeria currently has only 24,000 licensed medical doctors available in the country, and less than 10% of that number is needed to meet the World Health Organization recommendation. In his response, the President's Nigeria Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Emeka Oji, described the bill as anti-people, demanding that it should be withdrawn. It will be recalled that after the end of COVID-19 pandemic, the country witnessed mass migration of her medical professionals to developed countries, rated as the third highest in the world and highest in Africa. On the foreign scene, a provincial governor in the northeast Burundi has dissolved the decision of a mayor to force a female resident out of the area after others accused her of taking their husbands. A letter signed by Butihinda District Mayor Gilbert Ndikasamambo, which made the rounds on social media, stated that because of her misbehavior, which is aimed at breaking marriages, she should leave the area within 24 hours. Some social media users criticized the mayor's decision, while others supported it, as infidelity and an increase in divorce are currently concerning the people of Burundi. The woman in the matter has not publicly commented in any way. Hours after the letter was shared, Muyinga Province announced on Twitter that the mayor's decision was annulled by the governor for not abiding by the law. Recently, Burundi's First Lady publicly condemned infidelity and targeted single women for the breaking of marriages. In sports, Anthony Joshua's new coach, Derek James, has dismissed any criticisms of the British-Nigerian performance against Jermaine Franklin last week at the O2 Arena in London. Joshua controlled the 12 rounds against Franklin, winning in a comfortable on an unanimous decision, despite displaying a solid jab and plentiful gas tank. Pundits labeled him uncertain and cautious in the aftermath. Speaking to the reporters, the trainer said he was very happy with the two-time heavyweight champion's performance, saying he only did what he was told to do. According to him, people wanted to see him do something spectacular, which was not in his plan, adding that working with somebody new takes a different dimension. The trainer praised Joshua's consistency in the strategy they had devised in camp, and revealed that they plan to start it all over again in the next few weeks for the new opponent in July. Joshua's promoter, Eden Hearn, has provided an update on the potential of his star man challenging for Tyson Fury, the WBC heavyweight world title this year. That's Energy 105.5 FM News in Brief. Join us at noon for more news. I am Mavis. Good morning and have a nice day.